Last year, I wrote a play called Kill the Messenger. It was at Belvoir Theatre in Sydney. It was written by me, starring me, and about my life. And honestly, I'm surprised anyone paid to see it. But they did, suckers. And it did quite well. It was about colonisation, I would say in interviews. It's about the effects of institutionalised racism within Aboriginal lives. But funny, I would reassure, with a charming smile, very funny, as if to say, don't worry, rich theatre-going white people, your $60 ticket tragedy comes with a side of hilarity. Because it was kind of hilarious, the whole thing. I had to audition to play me, and I was terrified I wouldn't get the role because I had no idea how to prepare for an audition where you play yourself. And I would start the show with a sex scene every night of me getting taken behind by this naked white guy who had a name. His name was Sam. He was the actor. It wasn't just like some random we got off the street. But anyway, which took on way more symbolism than I ever intended, which I should have really been mindful of because it was a play about racism in Australia. So you did have a white guy going doggy style on me. But I've gone off script. Especially when previous boyfriends came to see the show, because apparently that scene was, and I quote, uncomfortably familiar. And then my parents saw it, for whom it was comfortably unfamiliar, which would be weird if it wasn't, I guess, because if it was, uncomfortably familiar, that would mean they would be familiar with, anyway. I don't know, it's like Inception. And then it would turn meta as I would talk about the mistake of writing a sex scene and then end up having to perform it every night. And then I would have to perform it every night. And then I'm talking about it now and again. It's like some sort of meta sex scene inception I can't seem to escape. Anyways, my play was about the death of my grandmother, of how she fell through her floor and died. See, the termites ate away her little fibro housing commission house, the house I grew up in, the house she was put in when she was moved from the mission to St. Mary's during resettlement period in the 1970s. Now, resettlement is their thing where they moved Aboriginal people from missions into Sydney. In my play, I traced the bureaucratic policy decisions of why her house got eaten by termites and why no one would fix it back to 1788 when the tall ships arrived. It was all very complicated, but essentially it all came down to colonisation. That my grandmother fell through the floor and died because of colonisation. And I'd say this during the play, in between sex scenes and flashbacks and laughs, always lots of laughs. But the most hilarious thing about Kill the Messenger is that I don't know what exactly I thought would happen after it. Maybe just that things would feel better. That maybe I would know more about the world and why what happened to my grandmother happened. That maybe people who saw the show would understand things a different way and somehow this would make things all better. I think what I really expected to happen, though, is that I would stop hearing her cries of pain at night, how she used to cry when I looked after her. Or I would stop seeing this image of terror in her eyes when she was taken away by the ambulance, this image I kept seeing at random times, like ordering coffee or talking to editors or having sex. But none of that stopped. And I was confused. And I never said anything because the play was a success. So instead, I just got a dog. And now my dog has cancer, so it just seems like I have really fucking shitty luck. But during this time, I read a play called The Dutchman, written in 1964 by Amiri Baraka, who is this amazing writer and problematic man, like most great male writers. He was a black man in the US, and this play he wrote, this was the last play he wrote before he became a radical. It's about a black man and a white woman discussing racial politics. And spoiler alert, but it is written in 1964, so you had a couple of years there. She kills him. Now, when I read the bit I'm about to read, my heart started beating too fast, and I dropped the book, and it was a while before I picked it up again. And in it, the male character says, And I'm the great would-be poet. Yes, that's right, poet. Some kind of bastard of literature when all it needs is a simple knife thrust. Just let me bleed you, you loud whore, and one poem vanished. A whole people of neurotics struggling to keep from being sane, and the only thing that would cure that neurosis would be your murder. Simple as that. I mean, if I murdered you, then other white people would begin to understand me. You understand? No, I guess not. If Bessie Smith had killed some white people, she wouldn't have needed that music. She could have talked very straight and plain about the world. No metaphors, no grunts, no wiggles in the dark of her soul. Just straight 2 and 2 and 4. Money, power, luxury, like that, all of them, crazy niggers turning their back on sanity when all it needs is one simple act, murder. Just murder would make us all sane. And this scared the shit out of me. Because no amount of words can ever fully comprehend what it was like to wash my grandmother's old breasts because she couldn't move her arms. Or what it was like to suddenly believe in God because every night you would pray to him to make her pain stop. It scared me because I know what it's like to hate. I know what it's like to be so desperate you just want to take from the world, to kill it just a little bit, to think that making blood bleed, to see blood go from life to death will somehow fix things, even if that fixing is just to satiate. It scared me because I started to wonder if my works of art are making me turn my back on sanity. Because every night I performed Kill the Messenger, I saw my grandmother in the audience, in the side of my eye next to the rich white man in the pastel button-up, checking his phone in the dark as he waited for me to shut up so he could drive his Lexus home and drink his wine and discuss the play as if it was a play and it wasn't my life. And I wondered, instead of writing the world of play, maybe I just should have killed someone. Maybe I should have killed him. The Dutchman changed my life because I thought I had it all figured out. That stories were empathy and stories could change the world. And in a way, I still do, but it's so much more complicated than that. Because the Dutchman made me realize that I would trade all my work to have my grandmother back. I'd trade it back in an instant.